look at exercise 9 in chapter 20. The one sample t statistic from a sample of n equals 5 observations for the two-sided test of the null hypothesis stating mu equals 50 and the alternative hypothesis stating mu does not equal 50 has the value t equals 2.5. What are the degrees of freedom for t? The degrees of freedom is n minus 1. We have 5 for n, so our degrees of freedom is 4. Step 2. Is the value 2.5 statistically significant at the 10% level, at the 5% level? Now, if we look at our critical t-scores, we're going to look for the 90% confidence interval and the 95% confidence interval for our t statistic 2.5. Let's compare the results of a degrees of freedom 4 and see what the table tells us a 90% would have, and 4 is a t 2.1. So at the 10% level, we have a t equals 2.132 from table C. And at the 5% level, we have a t-score for degrees of freedom 4 of 2.776. 2.776. Our t-score of 2.5 is between the 213 and the 277. So we are in an image of a t distribution. Then what we're looking at here are a couple of cutoffs. One for a 10%, one for a 5%. The 10% cutoff was a z-score of 2.13, and the 5% was a 2.78. And these are t-scores this time. Our t-score of 250 is between these two, which means that the value t equals 2.5 is significant at the 5% level, but not at the 10%, because I reversed it. We are in the critical zone in the 10%. So it's significant at the 10%, but we are not in the critical zone, the critical region of the 5%. So we are in the red critical zone, but we are not in the yellow critical zone. So we are significant at the 10% level, but not at the 5%. All right, I thought maybe for a second I had it drawn wrong, but we recovered.